Marvel actor Jonathan Majors guilty of assaulting ex-girlfriend. Surely Jonathan Majors isn't guilty of that. I mean, I remember all the stories from the last few years where you, BBC, and everybody else that subscribes to your ludicrous, insane, identitarian politics was insisting that Jonathan Majors was the best thing since sliced bread. Jonathan Majors' 10 best performances ranked. Jonathan Majors is no doubt a rising star at the moment, but his career hasn't just started. Audiences can get to know him in these exciting Hollywood features. He's a ready-made star. Jonathan Majors' best performance came before he joined the MCU. He's the latest star taking Hollywood by storm. Check out the role that started his meteoric rise. Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors give Angela Bassett a shout-out. The handsome co-stars gave Bassett a shout-out. "We love you," Majors said with a supportive smile. It didn't go unnoticed by fans who shared their love for the sweet shout-out. He could do no wrong because in this topsy-turvy world that we're living in, what you look like or rub your minge up against apparently determines whether or not you're a good person. And these lunatics call themselves liberal. Well, I love pissing on their chips, so I'm going to read you this story involving Jonathan Majors kanging his girlfriend's face off, giving her so many combinations she thought she was a safe in the middle of the street in London, and promptly breaking her fingers. Like all heroic, morally upstanding, splendid gentlemen who can do no wrong because they look a certain way. Very progressive. Right then, everyone who watches this channel is already aware that the world's gone mad and the people that think themselves liberal and tolerant and progressive take one look at you or hear about who you sleep with or even see you reading a copy of The Guardian and therefore determine in their insane delusional brains that therefore they're a good person. The bloke who writes Doctor Who just said that they had to take Davros out of his wheelchair because apparently blokes in wheelchairs can't do anything wrong. Well, considering all of the paedophiles seem to pretend they've got a disability the second they end up in court, I will go out on a limb here and say that your sexual preference, your race, your gender, or your lack of physical deformations has absolutely nothing to do with the content of your character. I know that's a controversial thing to say in 2023, but I'll stand by it. Funny old thing, there are moral, upstanding gay men, and there are also immoral, thieving, lying, slimy little weasels that happen to like bouncing on blokes' shitboxes. Doesn't really say much about the content of your character, but everybody watching me already knows it. So let's just read the story, shall we? Marvel actor Jonathan Majors guilty of assaulting ex-girlfriend. But she's white, so she must be an horrible, lying Karen, and he isn't, so he must be honest and pleasant and reasonable and upstanding, and this is all a terrible mistake, and it just goes to show you don't get justice in the courts in America. Oh yeah, and also CCTV footage, text messages, a laundry list of completely irrefutable evidence, but apart from that, I'm sure he is a saint. The jury found Majors, known for playing Kang in Marvel films, attacked British choreographer Grace Jabari during an altercation in March. She told the court she was left with a fractured finger, bruising, a cut behind her ear, and excruciating pain. Majors faces up to a year in jail and has been dropped from starring roles in forthcoming movies. The crime took place when the couple were in a car in New York and Miss Jabari saw a text message from another woman on Majors' phone saying, "Wish I was kissing you right now." I'm sure it was his mum. They're a close family, yeah, because obviously families of colour are infinitely superior to yours, you know, boring, raising your children. None of that, yeah. They're infinitely superior to yours, which is why they French kiss their own mothers. According to prosecutors, when she took the phone, he grabbed her, twisted her arm behind her back, and hit her head to get it back. The prosecutors painted the assault as the latest escalation in Majors' attempts to exert control through physical and emotional violence. They shared voice recordings and text messages between the former couple with the jury. "I'm a monster, a horrible man, not capable of love," the actor sent in a text while threatening to kill himself. This is just Whitey is clearly fabricating these text messages. Clearly. There's no way that is the textbook actions of a narcissistic psychopath who frequently fills his missus in and then as soon as she threatens to leave him or go to the police, tells her he's going to kill himself because then he'll emotionally manipulate her into sticking around for the next bout of sexual abuse and fisticuffs. Right, there's no way this is true. Text messages and CCTV and logic, they have got no place in a court of law when a stand-up gentleman like Mr. Majors is getting the book thrown at him by these evil, twisted, no good, pasty patriarchs, right? It's all a con. In audio from an argument the same month, Majors told her she needed to act more like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama, the wives of Martin Luther King and President Barack Obama. I'm doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and the world. And that is definitely not the ramblings of a madman with a god complex who thinks he's infinitely more important than he actually is because he's merely yet another wife-beating, pill-popping sexual deviant who thinks being an actor makes him beyond reproach when in actual fact they really are the worst people on planet Earth. At this point, it feels like we should use the military, right? The military should give ISIS a couple of months off and start strafing the Hollywood Actors Guild. That would be a great benefit to the free people of the world. Here's a sketch of Majors looking very sad, so you feel sorry for him. Oh yeah, and there's also this one of him knocking 10 bells of shite out of her in the middle of the street. I think the sketch artist was having a bad day, right? That is not what it looks like. He was simply trying to swat a bee that was harassing his well-loved, spoiled rotten girlfriend. Yeah, that's all that was. Mr. Majors has faith in the process and looks forward to fully clearing his name. Well, that last sentence proves that he really is radio rental. The bloke is completely off his box, and I'm pleased to see that once again, the same people that lectured us endlessly. Essentially, for the last 4 or 5 years, the woke have been on the wrong side of every argument. Every person they hold up as a bastion of integrity ends up getting nicked. Because as I've told you before, it's obvious. If you've got skeletons in your closet, you're a genuinely bad person. Well, Stan Collimore's a great example of this. He knocks 10 bells of shite out of Ulrika and then he just goes on Twitter all day, throwing left-wing tweets into the ether. And he thinks all of his sins are forgotten about. You can be the worst type of violent, abusive, pedo, rapey, pill-popping deviant. But if you act virtuous on Twitter, the woke lap it up like room temperature Ben and Jerry's. They lap it up. So as I've told you many times, ladies, if someone is publicly woke, do not go anywhere near them. They have probably got a dungeon, yeah? They've got 3 teenagers chained to a radiator in the cellar. If anybody publicly woke on Twitter reaches out to you in any way, assume they are lying. And the reason they try and act so virtuous in public is because they have got more skeletons in their closet than Pol Pot, Chairman Mao, and Fred West combined. They are the worst people on planet Earth. All of the bosses in Silicon Valley are the same. Some of the stories you read about the likes of Jack Doorstop, they'd make Epstein blush. Like, these people are awful. Never forget it. They're obsessed with power and control because they are genuinely awful people. I'd rather go for a pint with Bill Cosby than brush past anybody who's publicly woke in the street briefly. But that's just what I think. If you think Jonathan Majors is the hero they all painted him out to be for so long, let me know. I would love to hear your reasoning. Other than that, let's call it a day. I'll see you all very soon. Hope you enjoyed that. Toodle pip. Cheers.